content that we've been putting out today. I know the last one was super exciting for me. I was super stoked to let everybody know about some of the cool stuff coming up. But right now we are on Tactical Rocks 101. So the idea here is there's nothing better than a fancy base for your miniature. And we make miniature hobby games. So, and there's an old adage in miniature hobby games called faces and bases, right? If you make a good face, make a good base, you have a great looking miniature for your tabletop. And I want to go over a few steps and a few items that you can use to create a more scenic and decorative base element for your miniatures. So I have a couple of miniatures, I have a couple of bases, and I have a rough idea what I'm going to do. So I'm going to kick it over to the minicam. Actually, Kevin's going to kick it over to the minicam. I'm going to turn on my light. And we have a Thanos, we have a Luke Cage, and we have the new rival Spider-Man. And I'm going to try to do something with each of these. If you joined us in May, we did the roster challenge.
Bring it up a bit.
Boop, there we go. That's my zone. And I did a little roster. Shook and I did a roster of narrative with the people getting the Infinity Gems and not having Infinity Gems, and Frank Castle stealing Star-Lord's coat and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I did these bases, and I got asked a lot of questions about how I did this base. So we're going to go over that and a few others. And we're going to try and get all these on a base. So the very first one I got is, this is a standard MCP base. This is the curved base, as you can see. And all I've done is add a little filler putty and little filler putty to fill in the cracks, and I sanded it down. And my idea here is that we're going to make this a space base. Oh, this is, and I painted between the streams too. I was painting, doing a little painting in between streams. So my finger's been covered in paint for the past couple weeks, getting ready for Ministravaganza. I mean, my finger's usually covered in paint. Anyways, I don't think there's a day goes by that I don't have paint on my thumb. I think I paint every day. I'm pretty sure I paint almost every day. So I'm going to use a little putty. This is just a 2-part epoxy. You can use any type of putty that dries, that cures hard. And I'm just going to cover that. I'm going to take some pine bark. Pine bark is such a great tool. You know what? We'll do 2 bases. We're going to do Luke Cage as well. So I'm going to pick a base. Maybe this one. We're going to give this the putty treatment as well. So I like these curbs on the bases because what they do is they can provide a natural slope and unevenness to create a ground effect. And the back of this is fine. I actually enjoy these sort of shapes on the back to define the back edge of it. You can use a little water. This type of putty is very, I can use water to sort of smooth it out. If it gets down on the front, that's fine. I'll clean that up a little bit later. So I just want to create sort of an uneven, rough surface. Now we can use pine bark. Sometimes I will carve this or cut it, like if this is a little too tall, or I need it at an angle, maybe I'll cut it down. Is this my spot, Kevin? He refuses to talk to me. He just gives me like a little thumbs up. We're going to do Fallout Blood. We're going to do dirt. We're going to do blades of grass. We're going to do some fun stuff. So let's start with some little rocks. I'm going to have that kind of jutting up. And I really like these ones that kind of shape like a point. Those definitely feel more space rocky. Use my hobby knife to kind of push that down into the putty. Right, maybe Give this a little tear and snap. That's a good piece. Want like a little jaggedy bit. Just sticking that putty. Then I use the knife and I push it up like that. Just break this up. See what kind of weird shapes you get. We're going to do some grass. We're going to do some gravel. We're going to just do all kinds of stuff. So Luke Cage has his foot up. So we do need a spot for his foot to be up. So you kind of want to play with that. Obviously that's not high enough, or this is too high. So let's take some of that putty away with the knife. Push it back toward the back. And there, that gives Luke Cage a little place to put his foot. And if you push the foot down into the putty just a little bit, you can leave a footprint for later. And this is how, like, usually it's a work in progress. Like, I just kind of move it around, play with it, see what kind of weird shapes I get. Then I got some little rocks over here. Get a couple of those out. And these are like nice medium shaped rocks. Maybe push these up against the edges of the pine. Maybe some of those stick up. Now I'm not going to glue him on yet. Where else would I want to rock? You just kind of decorate it however you want. Like maybe this rock kind of fell down onto the metal. This is going to be like metal. I want to imagine like the idea of like a little bit of metal, and then the natural area kind of off to the side to kind of have a dual effect base. You just add or subtract as much as you want. And we can use a little pumice. Now normally I'd wait for this to cure. Fortunately this stuff is self-curing. It's a 2-part epoxy. Am I on screen? I'm not on screen. Oop. That rock didn't want to be there, obviously, Kevin. Let's see if we can get that. This is why we stick it into the putty better. Let's cover this all over. I like this up on those big pieces of pine just ever so slightly. Just to kind of give it some depth. Cal 814, what do you mean the only person that it happens to? The rocks coming up, it just happens sometimes. Just kind of mess around and give it like a natural look. And the same thing here on Luke Cage's base. like I said, I smashed his foot in just a little bit to give it a little bit of a footprint. That way I know where his foot's going to glue in. Normally I would let this 2-part epoxy cure, that's why. But for stream, just trying to give you an indication of how we do this. This is a pumice gel you can get from many hobby shops and model railroad shops. It's like a gritty paste. It'd make a terrible toothpaste. Probably doesn't mint you either. Big thing is you don't want to get it on the feet of your miniatures. If you do, you can wait till it dries and you can easily peel it away. If you do like little daps, kind of make it erratic and get like some nice texture. Cork is a really great type of material. The last step I do on these is I take a little bit of ballast. This is ballast. I give it a little sprinkle. This has a heavier grain than the pumice gel. And because you're sprinkling it on top, it sticks to the top and gives you some nice variation to the ground, to the earth texture. So it just adds more variation. That's what it's all about. You want to create a lot of variation in the base. It just creates a more visually interesting thing to look at. And so with just a few steps, that's how I go about getting my space rocks, right? Nice and simple and easy. Once this dries, you'll be able to paint it. You can actually carve it a little bit. It's a little rubbery, but you can pull some stuff off. Darth Vader, yeah, it's the Salt Bay of hobby, right? Just a little bing on top. So that's how I usually create like a space base. This one is new. I've never really done one of these. I think I'm done with the glove. Let's take and get a big, where is my, I think I might have left my my pen vise in the other room. So I'm just going to try to do this with my hand. I can totally do this. Watch this. So this is just a regular MCP base. I did the putty to cover the cracks. I'm just going to use a drill bit. Give it a couple quick twists, like so. And create some nice little rivet holes. So this easily turns that concrete slab, right, from an MCP base into some sort of metallic structure that we can use for any miniature. And if you have some sheet plastic styrene laying around, maybe you can cut a piece off. I'm not on screen, am I?
Sorry.
How am I? You can use plastic styrene. Maybe get real spacey.
Can you cut a little bit higher so that your hand's away from where you're cutting? Thanks.
Directors, ugh, always so bossy. The big thing about if you're working on plastic styrene is the beveled edge. Looks way better. And then you can do like little nicks, maybe to indicate some damage or some imperfections. Those don't need to be perfect. And probably won't leave that on there, but the idea would be to shape this the way you want it, and you can create multiple levels to give it that metallic lift. Make it look like multiple layers of metal on the base. So that's not really a shape I want. What's a good shape there, you think? We would need to round this side, drill some holes in it. I kind of put that rock there, so that's kind of messing with me. Maybe go to the other side. No, it's this side. Just from a composition standpoint, right? See if we can push that up, create a flat surface. Let's go ahead and glue that down. Sanding sticks are great. What a great tool. I'm going to put a drop of super glue. I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to let that cure for just a few minutes while we work on another base. And then we'll turn that to like a little piece of metal. All right, let's see what else we can come up with. So this next one I'm super excited to work on. Let's get this out of the way, my mess. I promise to clean up later. So next one, like let's do Thanos. So the idea here would be instead of the cosmic base Thanos comes with, I just want to kind of create him on a city base, right? So I want to take a city base that already exists and maybe add something else. So I pulled a collection of random MCP tactical bits, and we're just going to play around and see what kind of works here. Like I need something his foot fits on. Maybe if you cut that and lay it down. Can you see very good? That's a lot of hand. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit for everybody. I know where the zoom's at. I've run this camera. I got you. Oh, it's not zooming out though. There we go. That looks good. So that is Luke Cage's I-beam. Obviously we weren't using that. Okay, so that piece fits pretty close. Okay, so let's do that one. So the reflectors are in the way on this. So I'm going to use my hobby knife. I'm going to use the edge of my hobby knife. Shave that away. And we'll get that position right. Okay, so I think I'm going to glue him on. Spread that glue out nice and thin. That's just super glue. Now, the awesome thing about Thanos being like this, nice and big, I can sort of position him, glue him, and because this doesn't quite fit, that's okay. What we're going to do, oh, there's a little chunk of plastic on the bottom. It's bad. What we're going to do is just take that little bit, slide it under the foot to where it feels really close to natural. Yeah, like high speed rotary tools are not super good on plastic. Plastic wants to melt at high speeds, so it can kind of mess stuff up for you. So actually, you know what? Is it if one of my compatriots is listening to me? Can somebody run to my desk, grab my silicone disc and some toothpicks and bring them to me? I'm going to show people something. So let's add some bricks. So these are just some hobby bricks you can get. You can also make these very easily. I'm going to use the back of my hobby knife. I'm just going to put some pressure. I want to break some bricks up. Maybe just the corner off this one. Maybe another one. I don't know if anybody heard me.
Just go right away from you. Where they at?
They're on my desk. You'll see a green rubber disc, or it might be above the spray booth. Everybody knows we're live. I'm talking live. So I'm going to take these little bricks, and I'm going to put them around the little basing element. Remember, in Marvel Crisis Protocol, there is a crisis going on, right? So I like to represent that battle. I like to represent that, the chaos happening in the city, right? So, sometimes the tactical rock shows, all the tactical rocks are representative of that and are trying to convey that idea in different ways, right? We don't want them to all be the exact same or similar, so it's a variation, and also allows more customization for the end user, right? For stuff like this. Yes! Kevin's my hero right this second. I'm going to show you how to really apply glue in a second. I want to really grind this one down. So like really kind of tiny rubble. Anyways, we want to show that chaos and mayhem happening around the city during these crises, right? And like sometimes it's fun to add more to the base than what was provided. As a hobby game, that's kind of the joy of the hobby is, or the game.
Down a little bit.
What was that? Lower down, sorry. Is being able to take part in the story and the narrative and tell your own version of it. Like that's the fun of, for me, that's one of the fun things in the hobby game, is being able to make scenic bases and do those things to make the story and the character unique to me and my army. It's something that we get to provide in hobby adventure games. A little super glue and a little bit of that ballast. So normally the way I apply super glue to all miniatures is I have a little rubber puck. The other thing you can do is do I have a piece of plastic somewhere? Yes. Hold please. You can take just a container, put some glue out, then use a toothpick, and that's how I apply my super glue. You can use plastic styrene, You can use silicone, like I have a little silicone disc. You can use the top of a storage container, right? Anything. Yeah, the other thing I use, the back of a base. Put glue back here. Dip the glue on the miniature, attach it. And remember, always fit twice, cut once, right? Measure twice, cut once. The rule of everything, especially miniature hobbies. So anyways, what we were talking about. We're talking about telling the story in the bases. And that's what we're trying to do here. Is tell the story in the bases. So I got a little putty, a little 2-part putty. Yeah, there's all kinds of little bricks that you can get from many different places. You can get them lots of little hobby shops, and you can get them, or you can get them from your train stores, model railroad stores. So there's a little gap there where the I-beam for Spider-Man goes in. We're going to cover that up with some putty. Let's get a good putty tool here. I just want to push that into that gap. And just create a natural, try to create a natural transition between the plastic that I had and the putty. This doesn't have to be perfect. It's ground, it's earth, it's a broken chunk of rock. It can be weirdly shaped. And there you go. There's some more dramatic basing for one Mr. William D. Thanos. Let's throw a little more brickwork back here. That one's like that. It's all by itself. All right, what else can we come up with? So we have this Spider-Man from the Rival. So we got a space base for Luke Cage. Quick and easy. Got a space base with some metal plates and some space rocks. And that's not dry. Remember we talked about that should be dry before actually working with it. And we got a fancy base here for our Thanos on the streets. A man about town, one would say. So I got this other I-beam. Let's get rid of that. Maybe we can do something with this Rivals Spider-Man to where he's kind of like swinging past this I-beam. We need a base for that. And obviously I'm imagining like this base was thrown by Doc Ock or, somebody threw this piece of I-beam. Maybe it fell during a Green Goblin pumpkin bomb. So the first thing I want to do is cut off a flat plane to attach to the base. I'm trying to find a decent angle here. We're just going to flatten that bottom as much as we can. scratch glue now. This gives you more control. Be more precise. I think this needs a little putty. We're gonna have the ground like busted up. So let's add a little putty.
Hey, that was since I did it totally already.
Can you hear me? Check, check, check. Test, 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 test. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? What about now? No one can hear me. What did I do? So we're just going to use a little bit of putty to create kind of a lump of ground.
Sounds like you're getting a little bit of bounce off your shirt or something. You can adjust your mic a bit.
Test, 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 test. How about now? I'm seeing we're good. We're all good. We can hear. What up? We can do our bricks again.
Get your coach.
I think I want these bricks kind of like standing up, like they're kind of going crazy from an explosion. Like that I-beam really chunked in there and came at poor Spider-Man. Let's do a little glue back here. Oh, did you see that? That was the perfect shot. Like I said, I just want to tell like a little story, a little narrative. This is not Amazing Spider-Man. This is the rival Spider-Man. This might look better. Like, yeah, that's our composition there. There, I like that. So it's coming back and like blasting. Could take another little bit of I-beam maybe. What do you think? Oh, let's do some of these rocks. Some of these bigger rocks. I want a lot of debris around this. Usually I take much longer with these. Want these steps to dry in between. You don't have to rush a project. You can do a little bit here and there. Paint tonight, do a little paint tomorrow. Just work on the project. This is always one of those fun ones to have, like something you're working on, and then you move to the next project while these dry, and come back to it and do the next step. Other than street bases in the future, Rich asked. We always talk about different things that we could do. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but not anytime soon. I think the street bases kind of provide like a lot of opportunity. Like I said, I consider these very blank. You can kind of do whatever you want with them, but you never know. So this is coming this way. Our Spider-Man just dodged it. So I think I want to kind of do something like that and use the back of the heel to kind of anchor it. Oh my gosh, are we really that? We're really blazing away on time.
Having fun.
We're having fun. I'm having fun. Someone kind of putting it like a funky angle right at the top. And we're going to sit here very patiently while that glue melts the plastics together through a chemical reaction that we can't see. It's going to be so close. It's going to be done real soon. Oh, not quite. I need to push it together with my hand. This is always the fun part, isn't it? Waiting for the paint to dry, waiting for the glue to cure. You're sitting there patiently. You're trying to not move your hand because you know if you move your hand, the position's going to change. And of course, that's when somebody comes up and tries to reach around you to grab something, grab the remote. Kevin's over here shaking his head. He knows that feel. Or suddenly somebody needs something. Can you help me in the kitchen? Wait, what? I just glued Spider-Man. Zed's not dead. That organic feel is really encouraging too because it shows that it's not all about having mad skills, but rather experience and practice. We could all get to that point. Absolutely 100% agree. It's not about mad skills. Boy, I totally missed the glue on that one. It is absolutely not about mad skills. It's about a lot of practice. It's about trial and error. It's about doing new things. It's about asking why something didn't work, right? It's about questioning why things do work, right? If something did work, ask why did it work? Getting feedback. Learning to take feedback, learning when feedback is feedback and feedback is just grump, stuff like that. But practice is where it's all about. Just doing something over and over and over again is very important, but you have to ask the questions around those things as well. If you do something for 20 years doesn't mean you've asked the right questions to change it and do it different. Moving from one plateau to the next plateau is all about changing the way you do things sometimes and adapting it. I'm going to be really grumpy if I can't get this Spider-Man to stick here, Kevin.
I think it'll be alright.
I tried new glue and it's melting. It's really melting. It's just not curing as fast as I thought it was going to cure. Your Cassandra Nova and Deadpool wouldn't stay up. I mean, it's all about using the right glue. There we go. Oh, he's almost cured. He's almost cured. Are my children forbidden from me? I mean, my child's 21, doesn't live with me, so. my sacred desk of upcoming products. Yeah, my desk is super secrets. This glue's taking forever.
Super good.
Just super glue it, you think? Oh! That looks mad dope, sir. What do you think?
I'm a fan.
Can you see it?
Move on.
Am I too high up? I'm too high up. How about now? There we go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So rival Spider-Man dodging this. I got this idea, not for the I-beam, but Schick did some interesting stuff with rival Spider-Man, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to play with that. So we got this nice little curve going on there, dodging the I-beam, using bricks, rocks, and some putty to create the ground, and then using some putty and pumice and pine and rock to make a space base. Maybe that means Luke Cage will get painted up to go with my Space Force. And we still got this to do. What did we do wrong, Kevin? I got 3 minutes.
180 seconds.
I got 180 seconds. That's not enough time to do anything cool. So we're gonna try to cut the curve on this. Is my head in the way?
Yeah.
Of course it
Good.
is. I'm gonna cut the curve on this piece of plastic card. And what else can we do? Oh, I got some little flowers. I promised little flowers. So this is like a little collection of random nonsense I've picked up over the years. But I got these little plants. I want to use them on a space base real quick. We're going to use a little drop of glue. Am I almost out of time?
2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes. We're going to put a little drop of super glue on this little flower. Got this plant, I don't know, somewhere. I also had a friend a while back send me a whole collection of random plants. There we go. And these are just like little pieces of random rocks and stuff. I have bags and bags of stuff. Like always, you can always be a lookout for different things. Definitely dry them out. I put them in the oven to like make sure they're pure and clean and ready for use. But you can use dirt. Anything can be made, and you can base it up and make your miniatures come to life with some fancy bases. Okay, I think we got 1 minute.
Your brain.
What?
Swap into your brain.
We're swapping to the brain? But I was using my heart.
Oh.
Now you're gonna make me use my brain? I'm much better with my heart. So hopefully that was interesting and fun. Hopefully you try it out. Show us what your bases look like. You can always hashtag painting protocol, show us your bases. We always like looking at that kind of fun stuff. Coming up next is such nice suits of painting armor. And that's about to go off right now. So we're going to kick it over to y'all. See you later. Ministravaganza.